In a luxurious restaurant, where the sparkle of crystal reflects in wine glasses and the aroma of sophisticated dishes fills the air, a successful businessman sits alone. He is the kind of person who seems to have everything the world has to offer: wealth, power, and status. But despite all this luxury, something feels missing in his life. He gazes out the window, lost in his thoughts, distant from the world around him, feeling an emptiness that even his vast wealth cannot fill. At that very moment, an unusual figure enters the restaurant. A poor girl wearing simple clothes and with a curious look in her eyes, approaches the millionaire. Without hesitation, with a boldness that surprises everyone around her, she asks a question no one would expect. "Can I dine with you, Dad?" The entire restaurant falls silent. Curious glances turn towards the scene. How will he react? What will he do in the face of such an unexpected question from a poor girl, with no apparent intention other than a simple conversation? Everyone expects an arrogant response, perhaps an expulsion, but what happens next surprises everyone. The millionaire, slightly surprised, invites her to sit down. And so, what seemed like just another routine night for him turns into a conversation that will forever change his perspective on life. The girl, free from material worries, speaks with a sincerity that unsettles him, making him reflect on his choices, the value of things, and the true meaning of his life. As their words flow, the millionaire begins to realize that there is something far more valuable than the wealth he has always sought. The answer to a question he never knew needed to be asked comes from a source he never imagined. A girl who, with nothing, knows more about what truly matters than he ever did. In an unexpected dinner, two lives intersect in a way no one could have predicted, forever altering the course of their stories. In a luxurious restaurant, where the sparkle of crystal chandeliers reflected off the wine glasses and the gourmet dishes were served with elegance, the millionaire, sitting alone, appeared disconnected from his surroundings. His expression, though calm, revealed a deep emptiness, the weariness of a man who had reached the top but no longer knew what to do with his life. It was a hot afternoon, yet the millionaire felt an internal chill, as if the success he had so desperately sought could not warm his soul. He observed the other customers with satisfied smiles, but his thoughts were distant, immersed in a sense of dissatisfaction he couldn't explain. Then the restaurant door opened, and a small girl, dressed in worn clothes and with a shy demeanor, walked in. Her bare feet touched the polished floor, yet she walked with surprising confidence. Unlike everyone else who wore luxurious attire, she seemed out of place in the environment of ostentation. The customers' gazes turned toward her, but she appeared oblivious to them, as though focused on a single objective. She walked across the room with hesitant steps, stopping in front of the millionaire's table. Everyone around seemed to be watching what would happen next. The maitre d', with a concerned expression, observed from a distance, ready to intervene if necessary. The girl looked at the millionaire with an intensity that even surprised him, as if she had read his thoughts. With a lightness that contrasted with the seriousness of the setting, she asked a question that stopped time. "Can I dine with you, Dad?" The millionaire was taken aback. He didn't know how to react. It was rare for someone to approach him in such a way, let alone with so much simplicity. He looked around, expecting some reaction from the others, but silence hung over the table. The girl, without hesitation, kept her gaze fixed on him, waiting for his answer. What should he do? Send her away? Ignore the situation as if nothing had happened? Or did something inside him make him hesitate? He knew that the decision he made now could change the course of the night. Finally, after a tense silence, the millionaire, not fully understanding what motivated him, responded with a soft expression. "Of course, sit down." The girl smiled with the same naturalness with which she had asked the question and sat down in the chair across from him, as if it were the most ordinary place in the world. The millionaire watched her, trying to understand what was happening. He knew something wasn't right, but he felt an immense curiosity, as though he was about to discover something new about himself. As dinner was served, the millionaire and the girl began to talk. He hadn't expected the conversation to flow so naturally. The girl, unhurried, seemed comfortable, as if she had always done this. She asked simple questions about his life, without any interest in his properties or bank accounts. She was interested in how he felt, in who he really was, and that took him by surprise. "What do you do when you're not doing business?" she asked, while cutting a slice of bread. The millionaire became thoughtful. He had never asked himself this question. The automatic answer would be business, but now that she was asking him, he realized that most of his life had been about work and accumulating wealth. I work, basically. He laughed, but the smile was bitter. "I think I lost interest in anything else." The girl looked at him with a curious expression, as if she were trying to understand something he couldn't explain. "Have you ever asked yourself why you're doing this? Accumulating more and more?" she asked, her voice calm and full of wisdom, despite her young age. He fell silent for a moment, thinking. He had never been challenged in this way before. He found himself reflecting on her words, but felt uncomfortable. How could she understand the complexity of his life? How could someone with so little question him like this? She continued, without waiting for an immediate answer. "I have nothing, but I look at people who have everything and I wonder, do they know what really matters?" The question hung in the air, like a subtle provocation. The millionaire felt a lump in his throat. The girl, with her pure and disinterested gaze, was showing him something he had lost over the years, the ability to question himself, to seek something beyond what money could offer. He looked at her, feeling a slight discomfort mixed with a growing curiosity. "And what do you think matters?" he asked, challenged by his own insecurity. She smiled gently, as if she had given a wordless answer. "The simplest things. What truly makes us feel alive." After that dinner, the millionaire couldn't get the girl out of his mind. Her words echoed in his head, like a melody he couldn't stop hearing. He had spent his whole life chasing success and wealth, but now as he thought about the conversation, something inside him stirred. That night, he lay in his bed, but sleep wouldn't come. His thoughts were restless. He remembered his childhood, when all he wanted was a chance to escape poverty, when he dreamed of a better life. Now that he had achieved everything he had imagined, he felt like something was missing, something that money couldn't buy. The next day, he woke up with a strange feeling, as though he had reached a turning point in his life. He knew he couldn't keep going the way he was. There was something more he needed to discover, something beyond the numbers in his bank account. That's when he decided to take an unexpected step. He called the girl and invited her for a walk. He didn't know where it would lead them, but he felt he needed something more, something he didn't have. Something he had lost along the way. In the following days, the millionaire made decisions he had never imagined. He began to distance himself from the business meetings that had dominated his life. The phone, which always rang with investment offers, now seemed distant. The constant interactions with colleagues, which always felt so empty, began to sound even more disconnected. He started visiting some of the communities on the outskirts of the city, where poverty was felt in a harsh and constant way. With each visit, something ignited within him. He saw the struggle in the faces of the people, but he also saw something more, the humanity he had lost sight of. People who, despite everything, smiled, helped one another, lived without the ostentation he knew, but with a richness of spirit he hadn't experienced. It was then that he had an idea. He didn't need to keep living in the bubble he had created. With his fortune, he could make a difference in people's lives, help change realities. He wanted to start something real, something genuine. He wanted to be more than a businessman. He wanted to be a man of impact. The girl whom he now saw as a guide, a true partner, encouraged him to take the first step. Together, they began to plan a social project for underprivileged children and vulnerable communities. With every conversation, the millionaire felt his soul warming. He was finally connecting with the world in a true way, something he didn't know was possible until that moment. He looked at the girl who, with a simple smile, said to him, "You're making the right choice. Just remember, it's a long road. It's not about where you've reached, but about how you'll get there." The millionaire smiled, feeling that, finally, his life was gaining a new meaning. With the idea of the social project in mind, the millionaire began to take practical steps. He met with several social development specialists, organized events, and gathered investors who were willing to support the cause. But as his new vision began to take shape, he also faced growing pressure from his old circle. During a meeting with the company's board, he was challenged to reconsider his choices. His colleagues and business partners couldn't understand why he was distancing himself from lucrative investments. They saw him as someone who was losing focus. They asked, "You have everything you've always wanted. Why walk away now? Why abandon what we've built together?" The millionaire was silent for a moment. He thought about all the times he had felt empty, even at the top. He thought about the girl, everything she had taught him, and he knew that the choice he needed to make wasn't between business or philanthropy, but between following his true path or continuing to live a lie. Firmly, he responded, "I've learned that wealth without purpose means nothing. My goal now is to leave a legacy of truth, something that changes people's lives. If that means changing the direction of my life, then that's what I will do." As he left the meeting, he felt something inside him had changed forever. He was no longer bound to his past. He was ready to move forward, with a light heart, towards the future. The decision to change his life was just the first step. Challenges began to arise. Many of the people he knew, who had once been his friends and allies, now viewed him with distrust. They couldn't understand why he was distancing himself from his fortune and luxurious lifestyle. Some even tried to dissuade him. "Are you doing this because you think you need redemption?" A friend asked him, puzzled. "You're moving away from what got us here." But the millionaire didn't let this shake him. He knew what he had to do. With every new step he took, the weight of his decision grew lighter. He and the girl began to work tirelessly, creating a support network for underprivileged children and communities in need. He didn't just want to donate money, but also time, helping to design teaching and support methods that would truly make a difference. Although the journey was difficult, he felt he was on the right path. And more importantly, he felt he was being genuine, something he hadn't experienced in a long time. As the project began to take shape, the millionaire found himself constantly tested. Success didn't come easily. Many days, he felt the weight of doubt, the pressure from old friends, and the resistance of a system that favored wealth over well-being. But something inside him wouldn't let him give up. It was on one of the hardest days that the girl, always by his side, said to him, "Nothing real comes easily. The world will try to bring you down, but you have to keep going. Look around you. You're not alone on this journey." The girl was right. He wasn't alone anymore. He now had a new vision of life, and over time, his support network grew. The social project began to gain recognition, attracting more people willing to help. Slowly, the millionaire began to step out of the shadows of his old life and embrace the light of his new mission. The greatest trial came when he received an irresistible offer. A large consortium of investors approached him for a mega business project that would earn him an astronomical sum. The millionaire was torn. What he had built seemed to be finally bearing fruit, but he knew that it would mean returning to that empty world of before. In the meeting, he was once again challenged to reconsider. "You're letting a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity slip away. Don't think you can make a difference in this world with crumbs." One of the investors said, with an assertive tone. The millionaire took a deep breath. He knew what he had to do. He wasn't going to back down. True wealth isn't in what we accumulate, but in what we manage to transform in the world. My place now is here, helping those in need, not in another boardroom. He left the meeting with a calm heart. He was finally free to live his truth. The millionaire continued steadfast on his new journey. He and the girl continued working together, expanding their social project and bringing more people into the cause. He was no longer the man who lived for profit and fame, but someone who knew that the true value of life lay in touching the lives of others. Now he understood that, despite all that money could buy, the best things in life were priceless. And with the girl by his side, he moved forward, knowing that his true wealth lay in simplicity and humanity. The life he had always dreamed of began to materialize, not through more possessions, but through the changes he helped bring to the world. And so, a simple question completely transformed this millionaire's life. But what about you? What would you do if you found yourself in this situation? Have you ever imagined the power of an honest conversation and the change it can bring to your life? If this story surprised you, be sure to check out more amazing videos like this on the channel. Subscribe now and hit the bell to not miss any story that will touch your heart and change your perspective on the world. And of course, we want to hear your opinion. Like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Let's spread this message of transformation and reflection to more people. See you in the next video, where stories like this continue to teach us that life's greatest luxury is genuine connection with others.